everyone, it's Char from Char's Fashion Nation. And today, over here, this is going to be a spoopy story time. But while I'm doing it, you guys get to see my progress happening here with this. And let me get my ring light. Okay, now that we have the ring light, which enlightens the whole thing. Now, over here, I have the artwork I'm working with. This is my original. I have it signed at the bottom. And I've got all the threads laid out. Yes, that's my medicine bag at the end of the table. And this is how much progress I have got done on this. You know the hours that goes into it. That's some hours, everyone. So today's spoopy story time is brought to you today by me, because that's just me. So what I'm working on right here is this part of the dragon, the long mustachio part. Now I've got these parts already done here, but let's get into today's spooky story time. And thinking back on just weird things, and this one happened in the woods. Why? Because weird shit happens in the woods, people. Do bears shit in the woods? Not all the time. So, yes, another one, I was a little kid, and I went to this place called Bull Prairie, right? I don't know what state it's in, that part I don't know. The elders that took me there, they let me sleep on the way to Bull Prairie. So a tent is set up for me outside their camper, because I told them, hey, I would like to have my own peace and quiet, tranquility in a tent. So they're like, okay, no problem. So they set up this tent. I'm sleeping out there. I'm just like having my own good time of just rest and relaxation. What? In the middle of the night, when you are trying to sleep, and here, coming through the forest, you hear some running coming through the forest, right? And you're like, okay, maybe it's just somebody trying to run back to their camper. Because these were all good Sammers, good Sammers. They're part of the Brotherhood. They do good brother people and stuff. So, I'm thinking at first it's one of them until this one there, and then I will change colors. Yeah. So I'm thinking, like I said, I'm thinking to myself, one of the good Sammers is running back to their trailer because, it gets cold. It's kind of cold up in those woods. Anybody wants to Google that place, Bull Prairie? I should do that myself. Go ahead and do that and just leave it in the comment below. Is it creepy that they didn't tell me? Yes, I'm using my Singer scissors today because my other ones are like getting super dull. I may just go in the scissor drawer out and do a lot of crafting in this house. Yes, the back of this looks like a train wreck, and there's the front. So back to the story. At hand, my hands are working. No, because I change up colors. I need to put this color part in, and then that. Oh, what? Or do I? Let's see. No. Maybe. Oh, yes, for one little part. Okay, so anyway, get that little part put in there. Melt that up. This part needs to get a little naughty. It's not the story. So, like I said, I hear some running through the woods. And also, you would think it's another camper, but not exactly when you hear some sort of weird ass sound. Oh, and by the way, who am I making this for? I'm doing this for a friend of mine. I'm going to be making her a bomber jacket. She wanted a piece of my artwork on a bomber jacket. So what I'm doing is I'm freehand embroidering this. I did draw it out. I do have Taylor's chalk right here to go back in if I need to and draw out some more of the lines and make them fresh again. So I'm doing this for my friend Just Jessica. I will leave her link here and in the description box. If I remember the other day I forgot to put Viv, but I can go in and edit that for friend mail. So I will go edit that. So anyway, until you start hearing these weird noises that happen to just not be right. You're trying to rest and relax and have a good time, but you hear this sound that ain't right? So it's like basically, even though I tried to stay up all night because that scared the crap out of me, not literally, but I mean, yeah, who wouldn't get scared if you hear some weird sound that is not your typical woodsy animal? Yeah. I've seen bears just walk past me. Don't ask me why. These wild animals did not bother me. So, except for that. I've had bears walk up to me and just walk away. They didn't attack. I've had, even though I'm not a big fan of snakes, I've had a rattlesnake just go right by me, which was kind of scary by itself. So it's I'm not really afraid of these animals. It's if you show fear, they will attack. So yeah, this sound, it's it was not a bear, it was not a wolf, it was not a coyote, was not a cougar, mountain lion, wasn't any of those animals, not even a ram, which we have mountain goats up in the mountains. So like I said, it wasn't any of those. So I'm thinking to myself, oh God, am I going to die in this tent? I stayed in the tent anyway, the whole time I was there. But I asked some of the elders the next day, I'm did you hear anything last night? They're they're going to brush it off. They are going to brush it off. Now, here's the thing. Were some of those people partially indigenous like myself? Yes, there were a few. Let me get a drink of coffee. There were a few of them that were part Indigenous American. Now, would that have been a Wendigo or a skinwalker? Perhaps. But we'll never know because the sound could have been a Bigfoot. Because you're going to get more than a story in today's video. So this is going to be like a little bit of like camping experience, spooky story. I don't know if you can see that right there. Right there. I know that's darker, so you guys may not really be able to see that. So that's where green goes there. Green go. Not gringo, but green. Guys might have thought I was saying gringo. Even though I do know what gringo means. But anyway. Anyway, so was it a Wendigo, skinwalker, because it was shaking the trees, making some weird sounds? We will never know what it was. Now, that area in Washington State and Oregon State are well known for these types of creatures to be lurking in the night. Yes. Is that creepy? Abso-freaking-lutely. So let me get this another threaded up on the needle that I have here. I try to have several at one time in this sense. So try to have several at one time, but I've made a lot of progress over the last couple of months. Like I said, this takes some time. I'm so needing to catch up on this. I'm behind. And at least I will admit that. So let me change that. And okay, now that we're back, I'm just going to put that over there. So I put the yellow. I have different shades of yellow. I think I have like 4. Yeah. Anyway, and I have different shades of green. I only have one color of red. This is a white eggshell. And you would think that's a white, but that's actually a soft gray. Then I've got this gray. I've only got 2 shades of gray. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, so after I'm done with, that part of weird camping in the woods, right? Later on, that same year, I'm back out with this good Summer group. They like to take kids that they know, kids that, like if you're raised around them, they will take you camping with them, with permission, of course. So I grew up around these elders for a long time. So I always loved to go camping just so I could escape the assholes that were raising. And I'm just going to say it like that. So yeah. So we went to another location about a month later. So I really loved the fact that these elders would take kids camping because, there really wasn't much to do in the little crappy towns we grew up in. So yeah, going camping was more like our escape from all the bullshit in our lives. So again, going camping, different location. Now this time I totally did not know the location of which we went. So I wasn't upset about that at all. But that time I actually slept in the camper. Some of them had RVs, like really back in those days, RVs were like luxurious. and you could tell how much money these people had just by the fact that they would have one of those satellite antenna things on the top of their camper. So, you know, they'd be like, oh, well, you can go in my camper and watch TV if you want. And I'm like, that's a nice gesture. I'm like, but I would rather just go walk in the woods and, you know, find things that aren't poisonous. So that's what I was doing. And the old ladies liked it because I would ask them, you know, like, hey, you got some Elmer's glue and some empty oatmeal cartons, you know, with the lid. And they're like, what? And I'm like, because I feel like being creative, and this could also be a centerpiece for your camper or RV. So I would go find plant life, like moss and wild flowers that were not poisonous. And so they were like, oh, let me go look, because I know you like doing these things. And that was really nice of them. And so I was out in the woods finding the things that I wanted. And so again, you know, it's a forest. You're going to hear things snapping and cracking and stuff like that. Occasionally see some wildlife. So the point to seeing wildlife and other things that probably shouldn't. Hold on a minute. Right. Jab hand. So I come to this stream area. The streams were beautiful. Fresh salmon and trout. Cook trout and salmon on an open fire with like a little butter and lemon. Always good. A little garlic. You guys like camping recipe now. And spoopify yourself some good eats. Okay, you see where I got that right there. I will bring it up here. So it's like, that's like right there now. So it's gonna work itself around from, let's see, here to right here. So anyway, back to the story. So I'm at this little stream area, right? And I look over and I see something weird. I'm like thinking to myself, okay, that's not a bear, not a Bigfoot, but it's dark and tall. Now you're probably thinking Slender Man. This thing was not in a suit. Now this is where we can ponder about it being a Wendigo and or a skinwalker. Absolutely. That's where we can ponder that thought. Was it a Wendigo or a skinwalker? Because apparently Slender Man wears a suit. Do I believe in Slender Man? Not really. Do I believe that there's spoopy things in the woods? Yes. There's plenty of spoopy things in the woods. As you can see right here, I am blending the colors. Right here, I'm blending that shade of yellow with that army green. So, what other kind of creatures may be lurking out there in the woods? There are some undiscovered tribes in the woods. Yes. Was it a tribesman? Now that right there, Probably not, because when I look back up, it was starting to just kind of go away. Not walking away. It was like it was disappearing. Kind of like see-through after a while. It's like, okay, well, this was a shadow just a moment ago, but it was, just like it was standing there. It wasn't, making a noise. It wasn't trying to hurt me. It was just standing there looking. Could it have been a guardian? I don't know. I do not know. Maybe. Now here's the thing. A lot of people think that your guardian is only a white light. Your guardian does not necessarily have to be a white light. That's a spooky thought by itself. Maybe it was showing up from a past life. We don't know that either. Like the story that I told you guys about Pendleton and that creepy vintage house. There is so much, like, we just don't know what's out there. Because we always hear, like, different stories and stuff about other things that are supposed to be undiscovered. How do we know that it just wasn't? And here was another thought. Maybe it was a person that was murdered in the woods. And they wanted to have somebody see them, but, not cause any harm. Like, ye do as ye will, cause no harm. So maybe it could have been that. We don't know. Now, a lot of people misunderstand what a Wendigo and a skinwalker is. Those are supposed to be native witches. Black magic. Would I call it a witch? No. And why? Why do I not call that a witch? Because it's actually not a witch. A Wendigo and a skinwalker are actually a pissed off tribal member. Oh, I hate this. Naughty. Literally. I'll fix that in a moment. Like you get booted from the tribe. Now, a lot of people can be booted from their tribe if they've done something wrong. And then you summon an energy and then things happen. But was this that, or was it a person, like I said, that was murdered? So, will we know? I will have to look that up and see, like, if there were any, like, murders back then. And another thing that people forget is, America used to be native land. There's been skeletal remains dating back to about 500,000 years ago of indigenous remains in America. Yes, that was carbon dated, not made up. So, could it have been an ancestor? Absolutely, it could have been an ancestor. And, oh yes, and pretty soon, like not this month, but next month, I will be getting a microphone for my camera, so this will be great. Would I consider doing voiceover for some of my videos? Absolutely, I would. But just like you guys might think it's ASMR, but no. I'll just So yeah, and again, like going somewhere with a group of people, you don't know if somebody was trying to prank you or something. But I go back and everybody is there, and I'm like asking them, is there anybody that has like a cabin near the water? And they're like, no, there's nothing around here except for just woods. So it's like, again, I'm a little kid, and I'm not scared of this. It didn't scare me. I'm like looking in curiosity, like, that was interesting. Would you be scared? Leave that in the comments below. And remember to always leave it and kindly comment, because kindly comments are always good for your soul. Soul keepers. Soul keepers. Could it have been a soul keeper? A soul keeper is different than anything else that you might think. Yes, I do blend these colors, so the contrast to these colors actually come out more. So that will like pop against the color I'm using for the bomber jacket. Well, I do a spoopy story time when I actually put together that bomber jacket. Now, here's my thought on that. Yes, because I will just do the video and voiceover with the editing program. So that'll be fun, because I really need to get this finished. And let me know in the comments below that as I'm doing this, would you guys like me to tell you a story? Any kind of story, but truthful, of course. So, I'm just a little people. But, like, yeah, in the freaking woods stories is, I should write a book called In the Woods. I do have some stories that I have written were actually real from the state of Oregon. It has not just happened to me, but it happened to a former friend of mine. I haven't heard from Juanita in a long time. When she lived in Pilot Rock. Yeah, she lived in Pilot Rock, which is stinky ass little town where there's basically sawmills. But one of these camping trips, because we're gonna get back to that, one of these camping trips that I was on, right? Like, we were not too far from just what it happens to be, a sawmill, right? A really old ass sawmill. And so, we went to a springs, and some sort of springs in Idaho, right? I ain't a hoe, but I've been to Idaho. So we're not too far. The spring was not too far from this old sawmill. And I was always asking questions about it, like, hey, what's that over there? It looks like an old sawmill. And people were like, I don't think we should go over there. And I'm like, well, it's kind of cool. Can't we just check it out? And is it off limits? Is that why we can't go over there? They're like, no, it's not off limits because nobody owns it anymore. And I'm like, well, there's no trespassing signs over there. So I'm like, can I go over there and check it out? They're like, all right, but be careful. Like, I promised to be careful. So I went over there, And you know, you would be thinking some old sawmill that maybe a homeless person is in there or something. Like, if you're gonna be homeless, why aren't you living in the freaking woods? There's plenty of food and ways to make shelter in the woods. And I've been homeless, so there's there's all sorts of like ways that you can accommodate yourself in the woods. Like I said, food, water, making yourself some shelter. So, so I go and check it out, right? And as I'm checking it out, like, I look over because the door shuts by itself. I didn't hear no footsteps, no animal type noises, no heavy breathing, nothing like that. No shadow. The sawmill door closes, and now the pieces that ran through the water, they were broken, so it was non-functionable. But the wheel inside of it starts turning, and I'm like, is there somebody in here trying to scare me? Nothing. And the sawmill door opens like, you got to go, like my battery. So, okay, if you want me to leave, can you make a noise, maybe do the thing with the door again? And so it closes the door part way and then reopens it. And I'm like, okay, I'll leave and I won't come back. And so I hear another noise and there's, not speaking, tapping. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's how it's answering me. So, yeah, that was, I don't know what it is. I'm just not afraid of these things, but maybe that's just me. If you guys want to hear more stories about camping experiences, weird things from the woods, oh, that would be an awesome title. Weird things from the woods. Tell me that would not be a good book. And also tell me what you think about my progress on this, because my progress on this, that's pretty much coming along. So what it is it's like coming from here under that and then back under to curl. Like when I'm done with this, it'll be like right here. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of my progress on this so far. And stay happy, stay healthy, stay positive, and as always, stay blessed. And don't forget, stay spoopy. And I will see you in the next one.